right. I think we are live. Let me know if you guys can hear me and if I need to change any of my audio stuff. Of course, I'm always willing to hear you guys out on that. Let me know if you can hear me. So anyway, we're live. I think we're live. I think we're good to go. We got a couple of viewers in here, I think, and my plan for today was just to just kind of hang out, chat for a little bit. Maybe take a look through my Proxmox test server, talk about some of the projects I've been digging through a little bit, that sort of thing. David Smith and Wesley Landau, I hope I got that right. Thanks to both of you for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. And of course the others who aren't saying anything, appreciate you guys being here as well. But anyway, like I was saying, I think we're gonna chat a little bit. We're gonna talk about what you guys want to talk about. I've got my Proxmox demo server up in my top screen up here. I thought we could take a look through some of that and give you guys an idea of the kind of stuff that I've been kind of digging around on a little bit here. Kind of talk about how I quickly deploy containers for testing purposes by just a real simple method that if you've used Proxmox, you're probably familiar with. But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well out there. If at any point you feel the urge, it'd be really cool if you guys would give the stream a like, and if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and do that as well. That would be amazing. Of course, that's the more views and the more likes and the more interaction we get on these things, of course, the more likely it is that other companies will reach out to me and want me to promote their products, check them out, share them with you guys, those sorts of things. It's only a direct result of you guys hanging out with me and that sort of thing on a regular basis that I'm able to do stuff like, check out the Zima blades and the Zima boards and the all of the content or all of the hardware that's been sent to me lately. And of course, I've had a lot of opportunities to work with some great software companies over the last couple of years, again, because you guys continue to watch and like and subscribe and that sort of thing. So I just want to say thank you for that, giving me that opportunity to have an audience that I can kind of work with, to work with brands and that sort of thing. So I think with that said, I'm gonna open my drink here. And yeah, so yesterday I put out a short. I think short. I put it on YouTube and TikTok, demonstrating the 16 terabyte Zima blade instance that I had put together yesterday, and it was ambitious. I can say that it was definitely ambitious. In fact, if I move this, right, hey, there it is. So right here. There's the Zima blade. Currently, it's just got a 4 terabyte drive in it. There are, in fact, right here, those are the two 8 terabyte drives, and it was too much for this to try to work through. So I threw a 4 terabyte drive in there, and it's definitely working better. However, there are still some issues with it, and mostly it's just the drive that's in there is making some noise. It ticks periodically. And I don't know if that's because it is a data center drive or if it's just a 4 terabyte drive that got dropped or something. So that's what's going on with that. The more I'm messing with the Zima blade, I'm definitely liking it quite a bit more, honestly, than I thought I would. It's got a bit more oomph behind it than I anticipated it, especially for its size. So yeah. So that's going on. And yeah, no, I've been kind of plugging away at some of the stuff that you guys have brought to my attention, as far as, and not just you guys, but I get emails from viewers, I get comments, I get suggestions on Reddit, all kinds of stuff, people suggesting different things. So the Zima blade, we actually did a live stream on this, I think Thursday, but so basically there are two different SKUs on it. There's a 2-core 4-thread and a 4-core 4-thread, and that's the one I've got. That's a Celeron J3455, I believe. It's got a mini display port out for display, 1 gig LAN. I think it's got one USB 3 port and a full function USB-C port that is also the power port. They sent me like a 40 watt power supply for that. And then it's also got two SATA ports on it, and a, well, SATA data, and then also SATA power. You can power a couple of hard drives off of this. So while it doesn't sound super high performance, and honestly it's not, but for its size, I've got it sitting here. I'll just unhook it so we can kind of all get on the same page. But it's tiny. Like there it is. Like that is the Zima blade in all of its glory. It uses DDR3L, I think is what it specified. So it's got 8 gigs of DDR3 in there right now as a SODIMM stick. It'll support up to 16 gigs, I believe. However, 16 gigs SODIMM 3 or DDR3 RAM sticks are so expensive compared to the 8 gig. So yeah, I think 8 gigs will be plenty for this. This isn't meant to be a beast. It's not meant to be a powerhouse and be a data center, right? It's supposed to get people interested in the idea of tinkering and self-hosting and that sort of thing at a really, really low price point. They start at $64 for the entry level thing there. Let me actually pull this up real quick, and we'll take a quick look at it. Oops, over here. Let me find it. This one, and I'll share this link here in just a moment. It's not that one. It's not that one. There it is. So here we go. There's the link. It is currently still in crowdfunding status. However, they've more than hit their goal. They're at. Let's just bring it up here. Let's just do this. Top desktop. Hey, there we go. So basically, they've hit their goal. They're 113% funded. And it's just like, this is what it looks like. You've got your full function USB-C, 1 gig LAN port, USB 3. Oh, sorry, I lied. That is a mini display port right there on the bottom. LAN port, USB 3, USB-C full function, couple of SATA data spots, and a USB, and then the SATA power goes on that as well. And like I said, there's 2 different SKUs here that you can take a look at. It's got 32 gigs of onboard storage. However, you may want to do something different with storage as far as that's concerned, but that's up to you, of course. But yeah, there it is. And it actually isn't expected to ship until end of January, I believe. If we come down all the way to the bottom, there's lots of stuff on this page that if you're interested, I definitely encourage you to check out. So yeah, the order is placed now. Will ship January 31st of 2024. They're currently doing a small batch production run, which is what I've got. And it sounds like I was in their Discord this morning, I think. And it sounds like somebody had mentioned that the early models were going to have the Celeron J3455 or whatever it is, but they implied that maybe the full production run would be a different processor. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just what I read in their Discord this morning. So of course, take that with a grain of salt. For people that have the Zima board 832, should we buy the Zima blade? Why? That is an interesting question. If you're trying to replace your Zima board, no. The specs on them are not that different. I will say that the Zima blade is smaller. Yeah, probably no MongoDB, just based on the specs of this. If you're, like I said, if you're trying to replace the Zima board with something else, this isn't going to be that device, right? This is kind of the little brother to the Zima board, in my opinion. I mean, it theoretically has a lot of the same specs, but I don't know. It's a different form factor. It's a different, it's meant to be a different product in general. They've removed some stuff. They've added some stuff. So it's honestly, it's kind of the same, just in a different form factor. I will say that you can swap out, the RAM in this where the other RAM was soldered. You're still getting 32 gigs of onboard storage of that eMMC storage. But if you go back and watch the live stream, they sent me, several different, maybe I should put my stupid face back up here. They did send me several different expansion cards. Like this one is for M.2 drives. I believe one is SATA, one is NVMe. I could be wrong on that. But you get your power from the PCI port, and you get your data from this SATA port right here. So you're going to be restricted on throughput on the SATA aspect of things. So like I said, if you're trying to replace the Zima board, no. However, if you're trying to support a cool company that's building affordable tech, then absolutely. Like if we come back over to this desktop. Okay, so so effectively they sent me the 77 NAS kit. You know, they sent me the 8 gigs of RAM and this aluminum storage and all kinds of different cables and that sort of thing. So for $144, you can get the NAS kit. For $128, of course, a $16 difference, you can get the full setup here with the RAM, with everything you need except for additional storage. And of course, all of your expansion cards are going to be a separate purchase. Of course, you can go down and buy them here or basically wherever. So when you compare that price, that $128 or $144 with you know, with what say a Raspberry Pi might cost, it's a night and day difference as far as the compatibility, because you've got an Intel chip on this versus an ARM chip, and a lot of Docker developers and that sort of thing will almost always go Intel first, and then if they get around to it, they'll add the ARM support to it later. Of course, there are development teams like Linux Server IO that all of their stuff, I say that's a grandiose statement. Everything that I've encountered from Linux servers, Docker images, are all cross-compatible with ARM or Intel or, you know, x64, x68 or 86 rather. So it's really, for that price point, if you're trying to get something that is comparably sized to a Raspberry Pi but will walk all over it, that's where this comes in, is a replacement for a Raspberry Pi to get more out of it. You know, these devices are going to be the 2-core 4th thread is like a 6-watt TDP. The 4-core 4th thread is like a 10-watt TDP. So you're just sipping power on these things, and for the cost, you're not going to hardly beat it with a Raspberry Pi. You're not going to beat it with the expandability and all of that kind of stuff, in my opinion. So, and I know I'm wrong when I say that, but I actually did a video a few months ago about why I couldn't recommend Raspberry Pis anymore for self-hosting. And it's getting better as far as prices and that sort of thing are concerned, but availability can still be scarce. And of course, these don't release for 4 more months. So, you know, maybe a mini PC might be the option to go if you don't want to wait, you know, until January, I guess February at the earliest to get one of these. You know, there are lots of different mini PC options that I've done reviews on that are, yes, they're a couple $100, but they've also got, you know, like 16 gigs of RAM and like a quad core processor and an Intel quad core processor for that matter. So there may be lots of other options other than Raspberry Pi that you might consider if you don't want to wait, you know, until February to get these. So hopefully that answered your question. I know it was long-winded, but hopefully I was able to answer your question there. If you're trying to replace the Zima board, no. If you're trying to support a cool company, then absolutely. They've actually got a Zima Cube coming out here real soon that they're still doing production on and that sort of thing, that I'm real excited to test out. So yeah, that's where that is, I suppose. So, yeah. All right. So, with that said, if anybody's got any other questions, of course, throw them there in the chat. Yeah, no, these are definitely Gen 2 PCI slots, so that is kind of a downside. Again, we're talking about you know, the J3455 or whatever. Celeron J3455, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so these are super low powered. Yeah, 4 cores, 4 threads. That's what's in this unit. So I don't think it even supported Gen 3 PCI on that. So, yeah. So anyway, new people here that I haven't addressed. Nuno, Ari, ACP, guys, thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys taking a few minutes of your Saturday afternoon or evening. Stuff a video card it and run your own hosted llama. I That is a term I am not familiar with. Hosted llama. Oh, ChatGPT. Gotcha. Yeah, chatbot. Okay, powered by llama, 100% private. No. Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, they've actually, let's actually take a look at that since you brought it up. So they've actually got it where you can host it on Mac. They've got a couple of different CUDA options. NVIDIA, and yeah, no, that's cool. I really dig that. Dave, Kazi, hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Glad you're here. We're just kind of chatting a little bit about the Zima Blade that we took a look at in our last live stream, and then in a short that I did yesterday. Just kind of chatting, just in general. Not a whole lot going on here. But I think I do like the idea of taking a look at llama. Like, I'm not. Here's the thing. We've talked about this too. Like, I'm not a big fan of AI. However, I do like certain aspects of it, as long as it's not being used for nefarious purposes, right? People using it to create video and images that are not appropriate in nature, that are defamatory in nature, that are misrepresentative of people, whether that is, pictures, videos, music, whatever. I think right now we're in the exploratory phase, and everybody is trying to see what they can make it do. And I feel like I don't want to do anything with AI, just because it is being used too heavily right now to just scam people. And until that starts to die off, or until we're able to recognize those scams more readily, I don't really want to do much with it. Should do one for helping you code. Can you elaborate on that, Rodney? As far as using llama to help code. I mean, it's a chatbot, and it's an AI chatbot, so that, I guess that makes sense. Like, I've used ChatGPT to have it build out complex Docker Compose setups for different Docker containers when I wanted to do different things. And it's great about building like Docker Compose. Oh, okay, yeah, that's okay. So yeah, we're basically on the same page. ChatGPT will help you write code. Yeah, and it will do some pretty elaborate stuff if you keep prompting it the right way. I've seen some pretty neat stuff there. So that's an idea. Ari says, greetings from the Netherlands. It's almost 10 p.m. Wow. Yeah, I plan on being asleep by then, if I'm being completely honest. We've had a rough couple of weeks. And we're still kind of mentally and emotionally recovering from a lot of that. So yeah, no, we're planning on getting to bed early tonight, probably with a veggie tray and a pint of ice cream and whatever stupid movie we decide to put on. So yeah, definitely going to not be awake at 10 o'clock if I can absolutely help it. Let's see. Evert Dema says, do you still use your Athelia TOTP for guacamole, or do you use the internal TOTP? Actually, I don't use either of those. I have my guacamole running through Cloudflare tunnels, just like everything else. However, I've got it locked to specific IP addresses, so that whether I'm here or I'm away, I can still quickly and easily gain access to whatever I need to. But I probably should add TOTP to it. I've quit using Athelia for anything. I've had a lot of people suggest CrowdSec to me recently, and I'm not a fan of either of those projects. They're great if you want to put the time into them, but I don't, I guess, is the long and the short of that. I really don't want to put the extra time into it right now, just because if something does go wrong, it's just another headache. My current solution works very, very well, so I don't use I don't use Athelia or CrowdSec at this point. Let's see. David Smith says, I used ChatGPT to help me code a Python program for an e-paper. That's really cool. I should look into that. Let's see. That's why I'd let you know, Llama, so you can use it in house. Yeah, Yeah, I'm definitely gonna leave. I'm gonna leave this tab up so I can take a look. I guess the other issue is that I don't have any sort like. Okay, so the computer I'm on right now is a mini forums mini PC, and it's great for what I'm doing here. It's great for recording videos and that sort of thing. Like my main PC that's in the house in the living room is a Ryzen 5 2600 with a RTX 2070 from MSI. I think it's a 2070 Black. And I've got 32 gigs of RAM in that. My wife's got the same setup, just with 16 gigs of RAM. So those are the only two current generation cards I have. Beyond that, I've got I think up on top of the rack behind me up there, I think I've got an XFX 7700. And in my old PC over here, I've got a GTX 770. It's in a 770 in there. So I don't know if any of those old devices would actually be current enough to install Llama with those Docker Compose setups. I'd like to get like a 1650 or 1660 because it's still current enough that you can do that kind of stuff. I just don't know that those old cards that I have are going to be current enough to have drivers available to them for those sorts of things. Let's see what else we got here. Ari says, "Yeah, I'm 3 IKEA builds in. My legs feel sore. I'm not going to." Okay, what are you? 3 IKEA builds? What are you building? I'm guessing racks, tables, desks. D Bishop says, "I love Athelia. Excellent app. Look, it was great for me when I was using it. However, it crashed on me, and I couldn't figure out why. The logs were useless and wouldn't give me any information. Like, I loved it up until that point. And then I got to a point where I was just like, screw it. I'm going to use Cloudflare tunnels. It is less likely to cause me issues. And I've never had any downtime or any issues with it. I take that back. I've had one issue. I had to send my brother-in-law a couple of gigs worth of files to help him restore his dad's computer that I had just fixed for him. I'd actually backed up all of his files and videos and everything off of his computer. It was only a couple of gigs, so it wasn't bad. But his computer got compromised. He had to reset it back to factory. He needed those files again. Luckily, I still had them. But I had to break them up into like chunks of like 75 megs each, and then send them over that way so that they could be extracted back into a full like 2 gig thing there. And so that's the only issue that I've run into with Cloudflare tunnels is they do have that 100 megabyte file size limit. I think you can get by that. It affects me so infrequently that I've never bothered to look into it. So trailer needed to create some storage space, shelves, cabs. Oh, cool. No, that's, man, and IKEA is great for that. We actually just got some new furniture. We inherited some furniture from somebody here recently who passed away. But we had tons of like the 2x2s and dressers and our bed frame, all kinds of stuff was IKEA, and it's, you know, for its price, not bad at all. And I'm one of the weirdos. I really enjoy building furniture, IKEA furniture, whatever. Like, I really enjoy having a project where I've got a bunch of parts laid out, and then within like an hour or however long it takes, I can see like, hey, I built this. I took all of these bits and pieces and screws and nuts and bolts and dowels and all this stuff, and here we are all this time later, and now I've got a functional piece of furniture. I really enjoy doing that kind of stuff. Martin says, can't stay long, but greetings and thanks from Scotland. I miss Scotland. I've been there a couple of different times for a couple of weeks each. I spent my whole time there in Ayr, kind of right over there on, was it the west-ish coast? I got to go to Fringe in Edinburgh in 2011. That was a blast. Had such a good time there. Would love to get back. Would absolutely love to get back there. My heritage, based on what I've been told, is Scottish. My wife's heritage is Irish. So we'd actually like to get over there and hit both places just to just to check him out. Like I said, I've been to Scotland a couple of times. I've never been to Ireland. She's never been to either. Would love to go back to Scotland. I was there once in August, and we only got like 2 days of sunshine. And then the following year, I was there for Christmas, and it was so cold right there on the ocean. I had never experienced that. It was eye-opening for me. So let's see. Oh, he says Air's about a 30-minute drive from me. You're welcome anytime. I appreciate that. Man, we spent so much time like just kind of cruising around doing stuff over there. Really enjoyed it. Would love to go back. Let's see what else we've got here. Still wrecks me at the end of the day. Yeah. Like, look, I'm always sore after I've built a bunch of furniture, but absolutely love it. Like, I still love the process. I still love that feeling of having completed something. I really enjoy that. Hey, JD's here, dude. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you stopping by. Alan Creation says, I hear furniture. Are we building a home data center? I mean, kinda. I mean, let's see if I can get this. No, wrong way. Right there. There's my home data center. I've always been interested in the idea of building a lac rack. I've seen a lot of that over, like over on Reddit and whatnot. And those are actually pretty creative. I dig those. IKEA hacks crossover. I'm game. Absolutely. Oh, Hardware Haven. Dude, thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate you being here. Says, my wife and I had plans to go to Scotland in 2020. Yeah, that didn't happen. That sucks, man. I would be so devastated if I'd made that plan and then couldn't last minute. I hope you were able to get all your money back if you put any deposits or plane tickets or whatever. I hope you recovered from that. That would have been expensive to lose out on. James Collins is here, obviously, as well. If you guys haven't checked out Hardware Haven, go do that. He puts out really great content that is miles ahead of where mine is, and I have aspirations to compete, and we'll get there. But just know I'm coming for you, dude. James Collins is here. He's a Discord mod and admin. So if you guys want to go join the Discord, I actually think I've got a thing over here. How do I not have that? Holy crap! Give me a minute. Oh man, we're gonna grab. Can't believe I don't have that link handy. Hopefully, copy link address, and we're gonna get back over to here. Hopefully, you guys can join Discord with that. So yeah, if you guys want to join Discord and hang out, chat when I'm not doing live streams, that would be awesome. Usually real chill. Never really any drama. So yeah, go check that out. Jorge says hello all. Glad to have you here. Practical IT with Jeremy is here. Glad to see you again, man. Appreciate you being here. Harbor Haven says, it did not, and glad I got a chance to hop on one. I usually see you live when I'm driving. Didn't lose any money. That's really good. I can't imagine what that would cost these days. When I went in 2011 and 2012, it was like $1,200 or something. However, I had a friend I was staying with, so I didn't have, like hotel fees and all of that kind of stuff. So it was real cheap, chill trip, and I got to see the real Scotland. Like, we did some touristy stuff too, but I got to go check out some real cool places and hang out, that sort of thing. Lots of fun, really great time. So yeah. Sammy says hello all. Sorry I'm late, dude. Just glad you're here. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate that. Elias Lang says hello from Sweden. Your videos got me started with Docker and set me down a path where I'm now able to host some websites and services for myself and some clients. Dude, that's awesome. I love hearing that. I love knowing that my little thing started as a hobby, in my living room a few years ago. I love knowing that I went from that obviously to here, and really this looks so much better in video than it does in person. Like, this is a sham. This place is such a mess below the line of sight. But no, I'm really glad that I was able to help you get some stuff sorted, and you're able to help yourself and help others, do their thing. So that's awesome. Really glad to know that. So yeah, no, it just, let's see. ELW Trains. Hey dude, how's it going? Glad you're here. Hope everybody here's doing well. I'm gonna put some obligatory stuff in here. We're going to chat just here real quick. If you'd like access to my content without any ads, that's no YouTube ads, that's no like sponsored baked in ads. There are a few different ways that you can do that. You can join dvtech.fans, like I've got posted up there. That's a membership site. Whenever I release a new video, I release 2 different versions of all of my videos, one with ads, one without. And I share those on Patreon, dvtech.fans, and as a channel member, you can get access to that as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in just this one other link, just so that you've got them, just like that. And then we're going to move on. Let's see. Ari says, man, I love the old ASCII doxy style characters and Discord channels. Panthers Army Gaming says, hi. Thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate you being here. Not really too much on the plate today. Let's see. Hey, everyone, do you have any experience running a Docker on Mac OS? I have an old M1 Mac Mini that would make it would absolutely make a great server. I would actually like to get my hands on a Mac Mini, like the old M1. It's funny that we're calling the M1 old now, but I would love to get my hands on one and test it out and make some videos with that as well. DJ Dash says, hi from South Africa. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. Shout out from Brazil. I'm new to Home Lab. Got mine up and running with 3 B-Link EQ12 Pros. Really like the content. Thanks, Marcus. Really appreciate you saying that. I'm glad that my content helps. It really does mean a lot. It keeps me motivated to keep wanting to create content, whether it's hardware or software or whatever. And I agree with Ari. Old M1, isn't that like 3 years old? When did the oh, come on, don't do that. There we go. Wow, did the M1 chip release 2020? It is less than 3 years of age, and we're calling it old. That gives us an idea of how fast technology moves these days. Says old, and then it's not my main machine anymore since I upgraded or replaced it with a Mac Studio. That's cool. I can't justify a Mac Studio. Like I would love to edit on a Mac Studio. I would love to have an M1 Mini to do Docker stuff and self-hosting on, but I just can't justify the cost to my brain. Ferry XX F3RYXX says hello, checking in from Colorado. Really enjoying all of the Docker content. I've used it professionally for a few years, never got around to hosting at home till I found this channel. Well, also hi from Colorado. I don't know what part of Colorado you're in, but I'm also in Colorado, so thanks for hanging out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Are there any apps? There are some apps that you can use to see how much CPU and RAM your Docker containers are using. Portainer will do that if you want to have a Docker management GUI, graphical user interface. You can do that. NetTop, I believe it's NetTop, will do that. There are a few others, but those are the 2 off the top of my head. Let's see. Panthers Army Gaming says, I have a Lenovo N700 running ClassOS with WordPress websites. Thank you for the WordPress YML Docker Compose. And absolutely, I probably took that from Linux Server and hacked it up the way I wanted it and put it out. But yeah, I'm glad you're able to do that. You also inspired me. Started with Pies, now have a small Proxmox cluster. Hell yes, that's great. I've actually I started basically the same way. I'm going the wrong way. You can't really see them, but like right there are like 3 little lines or 3 little blinking lights that look like a constellation, and that is my Proxmox cluster. James Collins says refurbed M1 Mac Minis can be had pretty reasonably. Well, you don't know me, do you? No, I'm kidding. No, I know they can, but again, I'm super cheap. There have been a couple of like refurb companies that I've tried to work with in order to kind of do like an exchange where I get free hardware periodically and I promote their refurbished hardware, but I haven't found one that we could agree with terms and that sort of thing. So yeah, no, I'd love to do that, but let's see. Alan Creations says I have a Lenovo M700 running Proxmox version 7.4. Hosted Nextcloud, Ubuntu server VMs, Nginx, Pi-hole, Portainer, and these things I've learned from this channel and similar YouTubes. That's awesome. That's really, really cool. See, Ari says, I'm currently waiting for my AliExpress order. It's a small form factor PC, an AMD NUC with a Ryzen 7 5825U. It's 4 2.5 gig LANs. Wow. That's going to be a beast. I've actually got a video. Man, did it come out yet? That's a dumb question, but I don't even know what content I've currently got out right now anymore. Content. Let me see. Videos. So I've got a review that's probably going to go live tonight now that I think about it, of the Trig Key S5 that's like the Ryzen 7 Ryzen 7 5700U that also just sips power. It's only got 1 gigabit LAN port, so you're definitely kicking my butt there. Still the 8-core 16-thread, but dude, it's a beast. I've got TimeSpy scores in the video, and it walks all over another computer that I'm supposed to review here very soon, and I'm gonna try to make sure that doesn't taint my review of the other product. And yes, Collins, I know, you know, we know, everyone knows. Well, you and I know, but they don't. So it is what it is. Do you have any steps to follow for Google AdSense approval, as I'm unable to get approval? I don't. And the reason I say that is I got approved a really, really long time ago, like more than 10 years ago. And then I screwed up and I lost access. You know how a lot of people are having, you may have seen, people are having issues with, you know, like invalid traffic and getting flagged for that. I absolutely was sending invalid traffic to try to jack up my numbers, and I lost my AdSense account for like 8 years. And then when I started getting into YouTube, I had to use an MCN or a multi-channel network to get paid for my content. And they were taking like 60% of my content and did nothing for me. So I seriously, and of course my situation's definitely different than yours. But I wrote an email almost every day, like basically begging, like, here's what I did wrong. I acknowledge I did something wrong. I screwed up. I'm sorry. It will never happen again. And I just sent that email almost every day for months, until somebody was like, all right, fine, we'll give you another shot. And then instantly I got my account back. I was able to leave the MCN. I had to give them 30 days notice, whatever. But without knowing why you're not able to get approval, I would be curious about that. Ari says it's a Topton. I've never heard of that, but I'm gonna bring it up here and put it in a search up here so I can take a look at it later. Oh, there it is on AliExpress. There you go. May I email you regarding a topic that you could cover? Somebody on your YouTube channel. I haven't found anything about it explained. ACC man, yeah, absolutely. Please email me. My email is david@dbtechreviews.com. In fact, just so that there's no issues, david@dbtechreviews.com. Okay, let's see. By the way, how are you in general? Better. Better is about the only thing I can really say there. The reason for that, like, look, my mental health is ebbs and flows. It goes up and down just like everybody else's does. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I'm still trying to deal with. My wife and I are trying to deal with, like, no marital issues like there. That's rock solid. But just some stuff going on behind the scenes that we're dealing with, and that's been kind of bad for the mental health. However, Tuesday I'm going to go, hopefully Tuesday. I've got an appointment tentatively scheduled for Tuesday morning to go see a new pain management specialist that will hopefully help me get some stuff in line. And then that afternoon, I've got to drive from Colorado Springs to Denver so that I can meet with my nephrologist. That's my kidney doctor. I got to see him once a year. And then Tuesday, I'm meeting up with a new primary care physician here in town. After years of seeing the same one, I wasn't getting things taken care of the way they needed to be taken care of. So I decided to go with a different primary care physician, or PCP. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited. However, yesterday morning, like 8:30 yesterday morning, I got a phone call saying, hey, we need to reschedule your pain management thing. And I was like, well, crap. So I called him back, and I left a message, and that was like 9. And then at like 12:30, I called, and somebody answered. And I was like, hey, calling back on this, just trying to figure out why you're trying to reschedule me. Can you let me know? And she did some research, and she's like, I don't see any notes or anything. But scheduling left half an hour ago for the day. So we'll see. Tentatively, Tuesday, pain management. If that goes well, my life may be forever changed for the better. So we'll see. Not that I've got any hopes on it. Let's see. Let's see. And Ari says, now we know, though, you're not wrong, sir. You are not wrong. Recently subscribed as I was looking out for Raspberry Pi series. Followed some of the videos. Everything is just perfect. Well, I appreciate you saying that. I do. I appreciate that. I've had a hard time with Raspberry Pis recently, just again because of the world shutting down and supply chain issues and scalping and all kinds of stuff makes it super hard to get devices. And yeah, so I've thought about doing some more Raspberry Pi stuff, but when there are so many inexpensive mini PCs that are so much more powerful, more capable, same power consumption, I have a hard time justifying a Raspberry Pi at this point, other than for the stereo setup I've got in my car. If you haven't checked that out, you should. I have a Topton Alder Lake box running. That's great. Ari says, well, you're smiling, and that is true. I am. There have been apparently studies that say if you force yourself to smile, it'll release serotonin, and your day will get better. And I don't know if I believe it, but I try. And I actually really enjoy hanging out with like this, chatting with you guys, learning new stuff, sharing new stuff. I dig all of it, so it makes me smile. Let's see. Has anyone tried Orange HRM? I think I've actually done a video on Orange HRM, at least a very high level, how to get it installed. Orange, yeah. Ooh, it's a couple of years old though. In March 25th of 2021. What else? ACC man says, well, it may sound like an empty box of hopes and prayers. Thanks, man. Oh, I appreciate it. Like, I know that those often come off sounding like hollow platitudes, but I still appreciate it. One mini PC with Dockers, basically 20 Raspberry Pis. Yup, 100%. Rodney says, I think in your car you're playing Butthole Surfers in the car video. You are absolutely right. And I play that song a lot. It's one of my favorite songs by them. And it's at the top of one of my playlists. So it gets played a lot. Yeah, so I've actually done 2 different Raspberry Pi car stereo videos. The first one was fine as far as it worked. But I had to go to Idaho, and it was kind of a last minute trip. We didn't have the money to fly. There was 3 of us. It was going to be a disaster, so we drove. And we got up there, did what we had to do, came back, and I was using my first version of the Raspberry Pi car stereo, and it got us all the way there, all of our running around we had to do there, almost all the way back. It was like an hour and a half of no music until I finally stopped and pulled over and pulled the thing out and just hooked directly into my stereo. It was fine. But because of where I had placed the Raspberry Pi in my dash, it overheated and I lost it fried the CPU on an 8 gig Raspberry Pi 4. I was real sad. But now I'm using a Raspad 3 as my enclosure, and I 3D printed some stuff to mount it to my dash, and it's held up surprisingly well. I will say that the fan in the enclosure is starting to rattle a little bit. I need to replace it. It's not a big deal. But yeah, no, it's a cool setup. It works really well. I'm actually thinking about doing some rewiring in that system anyway, because I want to change some stuff up. So yeah. Let's see what else we got here. David Smith says, I actually have 2. One came with the top done. It's okay. Well, that's cool. I love knowing what you guys are working with for hardware too. And like I mentioned this Thursday, I've actually got something in Discord that we've kind of been going back and forth on, or we did the other day, about some of the things, like kind of the do's and don'ts, what to submit, what not to submit, those sorts of things. Because I swear that we're going to do some collaborative content with you guys. I want you guys to submit pictures or YouTube videos or whatever of your setups with, you know, like a paragraph or something about what you've got going on. I'd love to share it so that we can kind of do like one of those LTT roasts, but not necessarily roasting. I just want to share whatever you guys are willing to share, obviously, as far as what the community is doing and that sort of thing. So, yeah. Let's see. Couple of things. Just let's see. Hi. I don't know if that's Alf or AIF. Oh, it is Alf. That is Alf in your avatar. Hi, Alf. Glad to have you here. Glad you're hanging out. Hope you're doing well. Started with OMV thanks to your videos. Got Homebridge and Z2M running about a year ago, and finally got Pi-hole working on Docker literally 60 minutes ago. That's cool. I'm guessing that you probably had a port 53 issue, that you had to shut off the DNS service that was running before your Pi-hole would work. That seems to be a real common issue with Linux. And Hardware Haven says, "Oh geez, a roast. Better not share my setup, dude. I'd love to see your setup. I might even want to get you on here if you don't object to that. That'd be neat. But I think more that I don't necessarily want to roast anybody, because here's the thing, right? Like, we've all got different tasks, right? Like, in theory, I could run almost everything I needed to on a single mini PC, but companies keep sending me hardware, so I keep putting it in that big metal and glass box back there. Sebastian, I'm just going to ask you to turn your volume up. I did a sound check at the beginning and got the all clear. There's no real, my mixer is all the way up. So anyway, what else we got here? For my temp trailer house, that's going to be fun. I missed something. But anyway, let's see. Rodney says that he runs Unify for his home lab. That's cool. I actually did Unify for a while. A buddy of mine from high school and I met up on Twitter like 20 years later or something. And he's like, and I'd been talking about network stuff, and he's like, "Hey, I've got a bunch of old Unify stuff if you're interested." And I was, so he sent it. And then one of the issues that I had with Unify was I was always terrified to do updates. It seemed like 70% of the time, anytime there was an update, something would go wrong, and something would go wrong, and it would cost me a day of my time. And I know not everybody has those issues, and I feel like those people who aren't having those issues should start YouTube channels and explain to other people how to not have those issues. So I went from that. I decided, screw it, I'm not doing Unify anymore. And so I took the Unify system down. In fact, I think Collins has got some of my old Unify stuff. Some of it's still in a bucket over here, a bin back there. And I went to a TP-Link 3-node mesh network that was kind of fine. It would have been great if I wasn't doing all of the stuff I'm doing. For the average consumer, it was great. However, I had worked with TP-Link a lot, and I was able to put together a report through my Amazon Analytics, and I was like, "Hey, look, here's all of the revenue I've generated through my Amazon affiliate stuff for you guys, like your profits and whatnot. Obviously, I don't profits, but here's revenue I generated. It'd be cool if you'd hook me up with a full Omada home network solution." And they let me pick my own Omada home network solution. So now I'm Omada all the way through. I went all in with Unify, very much like Apple. Once you're into the ecosystem, it's hard to escape. Yeah, it can be difficult. Look, and I like that comparison of like Apple. It is very much like that, and I get why companies do that. You're building long-term equity in a person that's almost guaranteed revenue moving forward. Um, but when you make it difficult to integrate with other things is where I have an issue. Like even like my stream, like my Stream Deck stuff, I have issues with, because like some of it, like I've got these fancy lights on either side of me that were sent to me by a different company anyway, but they don't work. Like they don't attach to, you know, Google or Siri or any of those assistants. You have to do everything either on the desktop app or on the phone app. I mean, I guess you can reach behind there and do your thing, but it's like, come on guys, add the integration so that I can walk in here and say, hey assistant, I'm recording, and have all of my lights come on appropriately. And it's really frustrating that they're locking out all of those integrations for whatever their reasoning is. Okay, so Rodney says that Unify has gotten better. I'm real glad to hear that. Collins is all in on Unify. Trains with Shane, dude, how's it going, man? I got your email the other day. I apologize for not responding. I will try to get to that. Wrangler says no port issues. Could not figure out Mac VLAN. Finally got it again. One of your videos. Cool. So I cannot tell you how much footage I wasted trying to get that system to work for that Mac VLAN video. It was such a nightmare. In fact, after I released that first video, the CEO of Portainer emailed me, and he's like, "You got most of it right, but this stuff over here is wrong." So I took a bunch of notes and made a follow-up video that I linked in that video description to be a supplementary thing there. Let's see. Where they got me was the cameras along with the networking. You know, it's interesting that you say that as far as the Unify stuff is concerned. That's how I am with Synology. Like they sent me, they've actually sent me two of their NASs. They sent me a DS60 1621XS Plus years ago, and then they sent me another one recently, and a couple of cameras, their new bullet style cameras, and they're great. I've had a couple of issues that I think I've rectified with the hardware, the camera hardware. But yeah, no, it's this cool little ecosystem that it all just works, and I really appreciate that. Let's see, Unified, because they were the only one 10 years ago that had decent roaming, huh? Let's see, would Home Assistant, Homebridge, or something like that work for automation? For my automation, no, because Stream, the guys that made these lights, they don't have any integrations that I'm aware of, and that really frustrates me. Makes me glad that there are smart people that hack integrations for Home Assistant. It's crazy some of the stuff you can get working. Yeah, maybe I should put Home Assistant out here in the studio just to control the stuff I've got out here. I'd be curious to see some of the stuff, some of the integrations I'm able to do. Let's see. Ari says, my brother got one of the old APs, but no controller. Now he's running a Docker on a passively cooled NUC. That is one thing I do dig about, whether it's Omada or Unify. They do have hostable controllers, so you don't have to buy, spend the extra $70-80, whatever, on the controller. I do dig that. Working, I like Unify, I just don't want to be... Yeah, let's see. Polemic says, do more of these live sessions. I really like this, but I got here late. Always love your content. You're a new content creator, but I like you and Raid Owl. Thanks, man. I've been at this for a few years. Even before I did Docker stuff, I did other stuff. I did like product reviews, and prior to that, I did fish videos. So there's that. Let's see. I have a real link cameras with a script that makes Unify see them as. That's really cool, Rodney. I like that you're able to make your Unify system think that your real links are Unifies. That's really neat. Hardware Haven says, I don't think Synology will ever send me anything again. I was pretty mean about not having 2.5 gig on a $600 NAS. I don't disagree with you. 100% I don't disagree with you on that. I think it's interesting. I think that's the word I'm going to use, that they're just leaving these 1 gig NICs in there, and they've got the expansion port available, and they could easily throw a 2.5 gig NIC in there. I got lucky on my 1621. The dude I was working with at the time put a 10 gig NIC in there. It's actually a dual port 10 gig NIC in there. So I've been real thankful to have that. And if I was in a situation with the other one that I've got that I actually needed more than a gig, because right now that other Synology I've got is just for my cameras, and they don't transmit more than 100 megs a second anyway. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to see if they would. Let's see. JD says I'm all in. TP-Link managed 4-port 10 gigabit, 4-port 10 gig, 1 gig. Jeez, that's a lot of 10 gig stuff, man. That's bonkers. I've got some 10 gig here. I've got a 10 gig switch in the house that connects the front of the house to the back of the house, and my PC in the front of the house has a 10 gig switch in it, or sorry, 10 gig NIC in it. So I'm able to transfer from my PC in there to my NAS in here. Or what's been happening even more recently is any of the footage that I record in here gets loaded over to my 1621 Synology, and then I've got a remote folder, a network attached folder, whatever. Anyway, I've got a mapped folder from here to there, and I'm able to edit directly on the NAS from there. The only time it causes me any issues really is when I'm rendering. It's a little slower in that regard, but beyond that, I just edit directly on my NAS now. Let's see. Post says, also, I see you having a lot better start than Chris Titus. And look where he is now. Yeah, you know, I feel very fortunate because, like, and it's honestly, this is a struggle that I have, right? I see channels like Christian Lempa, right? I believe he's from Germany, and does a lot of more corporate style content as far as how to do more corporate level stuff with hardware and software and that sort of thing. And I was actually on we did a live stream together, and I was at like 40,000 subscribers and he was at like 20,000. Don't quote me on those numbers, but I had him by like double, and now he's got me by like triple. So it really is, it's interesting what the algorithm does. I will say though that I've been very, despite having other creators just blow past me, which hurts my ego a little bit, I can say that I've been very steadily growing, 12 to 1,500 subscribers a month over the past couple of years. And, it's not explosive growth, but I don't know that my mental health would handle explosive growth. I just like that slow, steady, continual growth. It kind of keeps me in a comfort zone that I'm good with. Oh, that's right. Shane says Technotem did a video on an app called Scripted that's supposed to make any camera work through some assistant. Yeah, that's I remember watching that. And I think the only thing that stopped me is that most of my cameras are Wise cameras, and I would need to flash the RTSP firmware on them, and I need to see if I can still find that. But I need to take another look at that Scripted, because I think that's great. Yeah, new tab. Moist hoagie. That's awful. You should probably be ashamed, but not really. It says 66,600 subscribers. I think you can't lose or get any now with that perfect number. It's funny. When I hit that, I sent a screenshot to my wife, and we had a pretty good giggle about it. Subscriber envy. Don't worry about it. You do you. You have your own niche and specialty, and that has kind of become, like, when I'm having those moments, that kind of becomes my mantra. Because look, here's the thing. When I first started to do YouTube, like the first video I did that kind of gave me an idea that YouTube might be something that I could do, I had one of the original Fitbit wristband watch things. Maybe it was the second one. Anyway, the band kept peeling off. And I sent a support ticket in, and they sent me a new one. And then a couple of months later, it happened again. And a couple of months later, it happened again. And so finally I made a video, like, and I showed them close up, here's what's going on. And that video got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views that I wasn't expecting. And so anyway, like, I realized at that point, it's like, I want to be like Linus, or I want to be like Jay's 2 cents, or I want to, you know, like Kyle, and he was doing Awesome Sauce back then. So I want to be one of those guys. And then I tried to do a PC build all by myself without anybody else holding the camera. Like, I was doing everything, and it was so tedious. It was so frustrating. I changed my mind. So then I started reviewing anything a company would send me. I would review it, and I got nowhere with that. And then in 2016, I got sick, and I spent a few months in the hospital, and I got home, and I realized I had to diversify my income. And then I was like, I need to set up a Plex server. So I did. And then I was like, oh, I should make a video about that. And we've been at this for almost, oh God, 4 years now. Holy crap. DJ Dash, I agree. Brian from Awesome Open Source is also a great guy. Hardware Haven says you need that nice German accent. I have always been garbage at accents. All of my friends in high school did accents. They always tried to get me to do accents. And I can't say how I really felt about myself at the time, but I just felt ultra silly. Let's put it that way. And I hated doing it. Let's see. Also, Christian is not having the best time at the moment. You know, he put out a video recently talking about some issues he was having, and I'm glad you brought that back up, because I need to go back and watch that, because he said something about almost quitting YouTube, and I need to go back and watch that, because I feel like I've really missed out on that. So I need to go back and take another look at that video. Thanks for all the hard work. I got everything I need for my home lab stuff on your channel. Keep up the great work. Dude, thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that my videos are helpful. I'm glad that you guys are, you know, when you watch my content most of the time, are able to glean something from the videos I put out that will help you further your endeavors. I really appreciate that. Wait, since when does this channel have so many subs? Congrats. Well, you know, it's been interesting. You know, if we go over here, screw it. We've been looking at my dumb face a lot. This is my Social Blade page, and you can just kind of get an idea of what's going on here. Like, you saw I had a big month there, or sorry, that was a week. Sorry, that was a week. September 16th of last year. Don't remember what I did there, but you know, a few hundred subscribers a week. My views are pretty consistent. You know, every couple of days I get a new 100 subs. It's all just been very, very consistent. You know, since September, my numbers looks like they've gone up and stayed up. So I dig that. And then my subs are kind of all over the place, but you know, I still enjoy doing it. It still pays my bills. I still love chatting with you guys, you know, doing this stuff, and honestly, I learn a bunch of stuff from you guys that I wouldn't have otherwise. So yeah. Ari says, you've built quite the library of Docker setups now. Yeah. If you look at, we're going to go back over here for just a second. If you look right here, 581 uploads. Now, that's not all Docker. That's not all self-hosting. But yeah, lots and lots of videos. I feel like at some point I'm going to have to go back and redo some videos that have had updates and that sort of thing. Ooh, little bug right there. Anyway, TV's climbing up YouTube. It'd be easy for him to keep climbing. Just more content more regularly, has the personality and tech knowledge. I appreciate that. I do. You know, like since June, July, August, were all just garbage months. There was, in fact, going back as far as May, multiple trips out of state to deal with family emergency stuff, dealing with mental health stuff as a result of physical health stuff, and I'm trying to get better, and I can't always take the time to sit down and make a video. The research sometimes is too much for my brain. So that's why I enjoy doing these live streams for an hour and a half, whatever, because it keeps me in touch with you guys. It keeps us chatting and that sort of thing. But, you know, I've been putting out a lot of hardware content. I find the hardware content easier lately. But yeah, so, and I've got some, you know, some software stuff coming up I want to touch on just here in just a minute. Let's see. I can do accents and impressions. Sometimes you should hear my John Malkovich. Beats the snot out of Bill Haters. That's awesome. That's really cool. See, migrated all of my websites for like the 4th time today from Cloudflare to some free hosting to Railway, now to Google Cloud. Saved like a few cents or something. Very nice. All right. Working for oneself seems like a double-edged sword. On one hand, you're your own boss. On the other hand, there's no one to lean on when you're not on your A game. I 75% agree with you there. And look, I'm in kind of a privileged position when I say what I'm about to say. You're absolutely right. Being your own boss affords you, and it affords me. I'm going to say me. I'm going to internalize this. So being my own boss is helpful in that I had to leave the state multiple times over the last few months to deal with some family stuff. I wouldn't have been able to get those times off from a regular 9 to 5. Absolutely not. Also, even with all of that downtime and that sort of thing, being out of state, being away from creating, being away from the channel, my revenue, it took a hit, but not nearly like it would have at a 9 to 5. And then you had mentioned not having somebody to lean on, and that's where I'm in a bit of a privileged position here. My wife and I met when we were 10. And I've got a picture. She would hate if I shared it, but it was 1991 when we met. We have known each other for 32 years. We dated briefly in high school. We went and did our separate things. We lived separate lives. I moved to Colorado. She got married and had a kid. And then 10 years ago, I was like, screw it. You know what? Like they split up. They weren't together anymore. And I was like, you know what? Come to Colorado. We're going to do this together now. And we've been together for 10 years. And, she's the reason I'm alive. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's true. She and I rely very heavily on each other. We support each other. If, she's having a bad day, I pick up the slack. If I'm having a bad day, she picks up the slack. If we're both having a bad day, we give the kid NyQuil and put him... I'm kidding. That's not true. It's actually really not true. We've joked about it, but we've never actually done that. But we're a great support team for each other and for our kids. So, VPS, let's see. You're doing great. I only have 230 subs. It wasn't that long ago I was in the same exact spot, man. If you keep it up, if you keep doing your thing, if you keep finding ways to make yourself be interested in your own content, and you keep putting out content, I'm pretty sure you can keep growing that number. My viewership and my new subs have been pretty bad lately. Maybe 25 new subs a month, maybe 650 hours per month of watch time. But that should be enough. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what your subs are at right now, but that should be like enough for that level of viewership. Those hours should get you qualified for for partnership, right? Yeah, you got 1,300, almost 1,400 subs, and with numbers like that, you should be able to be part of the membership program, shouldn't you? Enrico says, I love these live streams. They're relaxing, and I'm learning new things here to play around with. You know what? Same. Honestly, same. And I think it's one of the reasons that I enjoy doing them as well. Like it's social interaction, though through a screen. I learn a lot. I get to share a lot. We have a good time. We chat, and I really enjoy doing these. Let's see. Please do a tail scale and pie hole setup video. I don't hate that. I've actually been looking into tail scale again quite a bit lately for some different ideas. I'm gonna put that right there in my notes. Oh, Global Killer's here, dude. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Ari says I have to go. I really like the live chats. All the best. I've subscribed to your Discord as well. Thank you, man. I hope to see you there. I've usually got it open. I'm not always around, but I've almost always got it open. Collins is like, that's as perfect as a relationship as you can get, and I'm not saying a word about the NyQuil. You're not wrong on any of it. That's all I can say there. Thanks. I just spilled water all over my laptop over the NyQuil joke. Yeah, it's the things you have to joke about in order to get through the rough days, All right, and Shane says 1,400 subs total, and I make about $18 a month. Have to think about a way to build that up. I think you can earn more than that. Anyway, yeah, no, that's interesting. That's got my mind rolling on some stuff there. So yeah, since we're talking about learning stuff, tell you what, we're gonna go back up to my top desktop here, and we're gonna take a look. This is my Proxmox. This is my testing Proxmox setup. And this is, anytime somebody gives me an idea for a Docker container to take a look at, or a VM to take a look at, or whatever, hey Shane, that sounds great. Absolutely. I jump over to here to this Proxmox environment. This is 7.3-3, so I should probably do the newer one, but here we are. And you can see that I've got all of these different containers set up. Like Link Stack, I already did that. Scripted, in fact, there is my scripted thing. I don't even know how long that has been up or has been in here, but I've definitely taken a look at scripted Podfetch, Riot, Documize, ifconfig. I did a video on that one also. What got done? That is, oh man, his name is Michael something. So the guy that did what got done is a Docker container, but he's the one that did the not PyKVM, the Tiny Pilot. Same guy. Documize, LibreOffice, that was me testing something else entirely. Rediary, I've done a video on. Link Stack, we've talked about. Teddit, I did a video on. Gravity DNS, I definitely want to dig more into. Interesting. Let me come back. Got to run here pretty quick. It's been fun. I'm just not getting any content recorded, edited. Absolutely, Jeremy. Do your thing. Thanks for hanging out for a little while. Appreciate you being here. I will definitely have to take a look at your channel. I haven't yet, but I'm going to make a note to do that. I'm actually going to take a quick note here. Practical IT. I feel like I actually have, but I want to make sure. Jeremy, L-E-I-K. All right. But yeah, no, do your thing. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Inspector Pups sent a wave. So hi, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Oh geez, let's come back over to here just real quick. On the topic of Proxmox, is there a way to manage multiple clusters from one place? I don't know. I know I can manage multiple nodes of a cluster from one place, but as far as managing multiple clusters, I don't know. I mean, probably. Collins might have more information on this. I don't know though. That's an interesting idea. And Mo On says, I just want to thank you for the video about Trillium Notes. I started to use it lately, mostly all of the time. That's awesome. Trillium Notes was too much for me. I use memos for my note taking. It's quick, it's simple, it's very lightweight, and it's just meant for taking notes and doesn't have a lot of the extra stuff that I would never use. So yeah, let's go back over here. Oh, got an itch. I always get an itch right there. Anyway, so I want to look at more at Gravity DNS, Podfetch. I feel like I already, apparently I spun up multiples of those, /SERP. SERP, I definitely want to take a look at for more of a business aspect, just because it lets you kind of get more information about your search engine results and where your assets are showing up in search engine results. SERP is just search engine results page. So like when you go to Google and you type something and hit enter, that's a SERP. Piglet, I don't remember what Piglet was. Dashy, somebody had mentioned they were having issues with Dashy, and I agree. I was having a lot of the same issues because everything they do is done in YAML files. Each page is built out and each subpage is built out in YAML files, and it's more convoluted than I believe it needs to be. Cosmos, so basically you can see that most of these up here are not running other than LibreOffice, but again, I was testing something. CapRover, Sweet CRM, Nifty, Suricata, GeoGuessr, Headscale. I wanted to see about putting together a self-hosted Tailscale management thing. I'm still working on that. StubbyPy, NPM, because I wanted to test. I needed to, honestly, I set up this NPM right here so that I could share a screenshot with somebody to help them troubleshoot something on Reddit. Lemmy, I'm actually thinking about spinning up a Lemmy for community reasons. Lemmy is basically Reddit, just like a self-hosted Reddit, so you can have subreddits or sub-Lemmys, or I don't know what you even call them. But I think once I get that sorted, I want to start a community Lemmy so that we can all share stuff as a community. But I got to do some more work on that. HedgeDoc and ListMonk. HedgeDoc is a very cool way to write, to keep notes and documentation and that sort of thing, and actually share it with other people very, very easily and see. It's collaborative, right? So like when you're actually, in fact, screw it. Let's do this. We're gonna go over here. Oops. I don't know if that's on the right port. It's probably not. Of course it's not. I don't know what port that's on. Let's go find out. We're just going to jump over here. We're going to do Docker PS. 3000. So we need to go to port 3000. All right. Doc. Damn. Anyway, the idea, you can kind of see it here. It's not loading properly because it's supposed to be running HTTPS. But the idea is that you can do it in Markdown or WYSIWYG. And as you're editing, you can decide, do you want this locked so that only you can edit it, or do you want other people to be able to edit it? You can be real restrictive on that. And if you share your doc with somebody else and they're editing, you can actually watch them in real time, just like with Google Docs. You can watch them in real time editing things and see where they are in the document, where their mouse is, all kinds of really cool stuff. And I'm definitely going to make some content about this. So that's definitely coming here very, very soon. ListMonk is something, basically it's your own newsletter publication service, like MailChimp or any of the others that are out there. But I'm concerned with that one and having issues with IP with the IP address getting flagged from other ISPs. So there's some caveats that might have to go into that one. Love Trillium as well. Just wish it had multi-user capabilities. Excuse me. I have 4 nodes, no quorum, which I can't believe you're not doing a quorum. Dude, you should just throw another node on there so you can have a quorum, Collins. Like, come on, man. Sorry, I guess I figured you just had multiple. With all of the hardware you've got, I just figured you had multiple clusters. So, my bad. But add another node so you can have a quorum. Anyway. Same, I use memos for quick notes and Joplin for more serious. That makes sense. Can I have 4 or 5 node cluster with only 3 nodes? Yes. Yeah, when you actually go in, you have to specify which of your nodes will be part of the HA clusters or the high availability segment. So you should be able to do that and only have like 3 of your 5 nodes be high availability. You should be able to turn that on and off. 3 node quorum with 2 for redundant gateway. That's also an interesting idea, Shane. I dig that as well. But yeah, you can decide which of your nodes will be high availability. I think it's just a simple little checkbox when you're going through the setup process. Yeah, no, I'm glad we're jumping over to this again here real quick, because I'm actually real excited about some of these, specifically Lemmy and HedgeDoc. And there's this thing there are these people online. Like, I have no sense of direction, like none whatsoever. And my wife's got a perfect sense of direction and can't even sleep facing east or west. She has to be north and south. It's weird. Anyway, but these people, like, there's geo-guessing game where it drops you on a map somewhere, and you have to then kind of look around and figure out where you are and drop a pin, and if you get it right, you get more points. If you get it the more right you are about how close you are to your location, the more points you get, of course, the more wrong you are, the fewer points you get. But I've got that set up over here as well under GeoGuessr there. All kinds of just fun stuff. And I wanted to show this just so you guys know that I'm not just sitting on my ass back here. Like, sometimes, yes, I'm absolutely sitting on my ass. However, other times, I'm actually testing out different services and that sort of thing to figure out what I can make content about easily, what's going to take some more effort to make it more user-friendly when I produce the video, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got going on presently. I will say this one right here. Let me zoom. Where to go? Right there. This 999 template. So basically, I took a Debian container, a Proxmox container. I threw Docker Compose, and Portainer on it, and then saved it. And now, anytime I want to spin up one of these, I just right-click and I say clone, and then I say demo, and then I say clone. And then within a minute or so, this is cloned over, and I can jump in with a fresh install of an operating system that's got nothing else that I don't need installed on it, no previous containers, no previous nonsense. I can deploy my container and figure out what kind of issues I might have. And that little trick that nobody wants you to know. I'm kidding. Anyway, yeah. So this has saved me so much time. I've just got a template created here. When I want to spin up a new container, I duplicate it, and then I wait for it to finish duplicating, and then I fire it up and I deploy my container, and then it's its own separate thing, so that if this was a backed up server, if something went wrong with that one, or something went wrong with a different one, I can restore individual containers with individual Docker instances on it and not worry about overwriting something else because something went wrong somewhere else. I hope that makes sense. So my backups are probably overly granular, but I'm super paranoid, so that's what I do. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got going on. Oh, I've also got change the mount volumes of Nextcloud. I have no idea about anything about Nextcloud AIO. I've mentioned this in other videos and other comments in my comment section. I don't like Nextcloud. I feel like it is trying to be absolutely everything to absolutely everyone, absolutely all of the time, absolutely. And if you don't have a very, very solid backup and recovery plan, if part of your Nextcloud goes wonky, you're going to lose it all. You could lose all of your data. You could just, and I don't like having all of that in one bucket. It's why I've got so many other buckets that I populate little bits and pieces here as I need to, just so that I don't have everything in one big bucket and have that bucket to go to crap and then lose it all. And I say this from experience. I didn't have a good backup of my Nextcloud instance when I had it, and I lost everything. I'd lost a year's worth of stuff, and I didn't have a good solid backup plan in place, and it was all gone. All my pictures, all my everything were gone, and it put a real sour taste in my mouth about Nextcloud. So I don't use it. I have a real sour taste in my mouth about Nextcloud. So I don't even. I've made a bunch of content about it because I knew it was popular, and I always felt dirty. Always felt dirty making Nextcloud content. Look, I get it. Some people really like it. Some people host it as a business, and more power to you for it if your brain works that way. But I just can't do it. I just can't wrap my head around going all in on a single thing like that. Oops, I need to come over here and do Control-0. There we go. So, anybody have any questions? I guess maybe what I should do is that. Yeah, so anybody have any questions about any of this stuff that I've got up here, or how my testing server works? Of course, always happy to answer those questions if you've got any of those. Where's my notepad? There it is. What do you recommend as an alternative for Nextcloud? That depends on what you're trying to do. Okay, so like my contacts, I actually need to come up with a different solution for my contacts, because I'm currently using Google for all of my contact stuff, just because I've been lazy about that. my notes all happens in memos. My file storage happens in Synology Photos. I've got a different solution for each different thing that I would have used Nextcloud for. And some of it's Google, and I know that a lot of people are trying to de-Googleify, and I respect that. But there are just some places in my life that I'm not willing to sacrifice convenience. If I've got to share a calendar event, or if I need to share a contact, or if I need to share something, sometimes, everybody I know is either on Google or Apple, and sometimes that just makes more sense. However, I know that not everybody is comfortable with that, so they'll want a different solution. So I think it's just a matter of finding what your actual needs are for, whether it's file storage or photos or note-taking or whatever, right? And then figuring out which service works the best. Now, of course, earlier we were talking about ecosystems, like, the Unify, the Apple, once you get in, it's real hard to get out. And that's very similar with Nextcloud, because it's one dashboard that does everything. All of your stuff is there, and that makes it super, super convenient. However, again, if you don't have a good, solid backup solution for your Nextcloud instance, if one of those things goes wrong, you're boned. And that's why I couldn't do it anymore. It's why I couldn't. It's why I couldn't stick with Nextcloud. I was constantly paranoid about possibly losing everything again, because even after I lost everything, I went back and tried and have tried to go back and use it again, but I was always paranoid. I just couldn't do it. JD says, I run my Nextcloud in Docker with the data being saved to an NFS share, snapshots and replication from my TrueNAS at home to my co-location TrueNAS for backup. That's brilliant. And here's the thing, right? Like for my cluster that I've got over here, I'm also, all of that stuff is on NFS. In fact, I made a video about that really pissed off a lot of people, saying I'm comparing apples to oranges. And I was like, well, sort of, but not really. Because the video showed how I freed up a bunch of RAM by switching from ZFS to NFS. And I know that was a bit of a misleading thing. And yes, it was kind of deliberate, and I know that ZFS is so much faster, and for some applications it 100% is. However, if you go to any of my public-facing things, whether it's dbtech.fans or dbtech or any of the different resources I have online that are available to you guys as public-facing services, you wouldn't be able to tell if it was NFS or ZFS. You wouldn't be able to tell it was hosted at home or on GoDaddy or Linode or where, it's about how you do it. It's about how you set it up. It's about, there's more to it than just, it's my way or the highway. And that's what I love about self-hosting, is I don't have to do it the same way as you guys do. And you don't have to do it the same way I do. Everybody can set up their system the way they want. I'd actually talked to, gosh darn it, Tom over, man, I am really having a hard time with names here. Anyway, I was talking to somebody a while back, Tom, somebody can help me here, man, my brain is fried. And I was talking to him about doing like a Ceph setup for storage for my Proxmox configuration. And he's like, you probably shouldn't do Ceph. It's overly complicated for no reason. And I'm paraphrasing, so don't quote me on exactly what he said there. So anyway, yeah, he's like, so maybe look at something like NFS or something like that. And I did. And I set up an NFS share on my Synology, my 1621, because it's got that 10 gig port in it, and it's super fast. And so all of my files get stored on an NFS share on that device and then backed up to another device daily, weekly. I've got certain things scheduled to back up at certain intervals. I think my Docker stuff, my Proxmox stuff, all gets backed up daily, and then re-backed up daily again to a different server. So, using it with a hosting provider for weekly backups. I got a Synology after trial and error with self-hosted options. I realized there's a cost premium for it, but it makes everything so much easier, especially for using with other people. I 100% agree with that. It's why It's honestly, it's why I like Synology, right? Their cameras just work. Like photos, I got photos installed on the device on the 1621. My wife and I both have the Photos app on our phones, and our phones just automatically back up very, very fast, like faster than they would have to Google. And then it also does stuff like, hey, here are some places you've been and some photos you took there, and like, here are some folders of these specific people. So if you're looking for a picture of your friend, your spouse, your kid, your whatever, there's probably already a folder with all of their photos in it. And that photo might be in 5 different places depending on location or who's in it or whatever, but it just works, and that's what I like about it. So yeah, that's I 100% on that, Joshua. And yeah, ZFS is great if you have a lot of RAM, so not always the best for everybody, and that's just it. Like, again, these nodes that I've got over here, they're 8 gigs of RAM each, and it was basically taking up all of it. I know I could adjust the arc and that sort of thing, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to mess with it. I wanted the most basic setup I could get away with that worked. So that's what I did. I set up an NFS share, and I moved everything over, and I didn't have any issues, and I haven't had any issues. And in fact, I think I shared something yesterday. Am I logged in on this? Let me see if I'm logged in here. Yeah, I am. Neat. So yeah, if we take a look here, this is how long my Proxmox cluster has been up. Like, that's November 16th of 2022. And right here, you can see where I switched from ZFS to NFS. Like, you can see exactly where that happened. This was another container that I deployed locally, and then realized, oh, you deployed it wrong, and I moved it over to NFS, and it was fine. But that cluster's been up rock solid for coming up on a year now. And I've, of course, a lot of that has to do with the fact that I've got a UPS under there that has made sure that everything keeps running, even if the power goes out. So the only real downtime I've had on that cluster has been if my internet has gone down, and I was with Comcast, Xfinity, whoever, and they were notorious for that. But I recently switched to fiber, and it's just so much better. It's just so much better. Lower latency, faster speeds, well, faster upload. My download technically changed for the worse, but I wasn't utilizing it anyway. So yeah, so I've got a symmetrical gig, and it's brilliant. I can upload a 5 gig file from my computer to YouTube in 2 minutes, as opposed to that being like half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. So yeah, real stoked I switched to fiber. But yeah, so anyway, that was because of the ZFS comment there. But yeah, I switched to NFS. It's been solid. I haven't had any issues. If something happens to that hardware, I've still got all of the data backed up. Nubis. That is our Russian blue. His name is Anubis. He's wondering why I'm still out here. But yeah, so oh yeah, I mentioned this earlier. If you guys would do me a favor, if you haven't already, and if you feel that it's worth it, if you guys would like, just hit the like button here. That'd be amazing. Again, I really do appreciate chatting with everybody here. Mirandi, yeah, absolutely, unlimited bandwidth. In fact, when I was talking to the sales rep and the tech, they both said that fiber is hard to regulate. It's hard to capture that data in real time. So yeah, they just the service that I've gone through does unlimited with that symmetrical gig, and then I can also I can actually go so much faster than what I've got. Let me see here. Fiber. Wow, it is after 3 o'clock. Or is it? Huh. Let me get. Hold on. I want to see, because like somebody else is asking, what's the average speed of internet in the United States in terms of using fiber? I think most people have like a symmetrical gig because it's the cheapest option. However, like I can change mine to be much faster, and really for reasonable prices, which is kind of the thing there with fiber, right? It is so much cheaper to manage, so they don't charge as much for it. Oh, excuse me, man. So So currently I've got the, yeah, here we go. There's nothing. Yeah, I can share this page. This is fine. So here are currently what's available through my provider, which as you can see is Quantum. That's fine. So I'm paying $70 a month for 1 gig. I can go up to 3 gigs for $100 a month, which I just think is bananas. Or I can go up to 8 gigs for $165 a month, and that is symmetrical. That is up and down. So I think to answer your question, I could also go down to like 50, but why would I do that? Or sorry, 500, not 50. So yeah, I think most people who have got fiber are probably doing either 1, 2, or 3. I guess that I could go to like 3 or 8 or something, and that would just be unnecessary. But yeah, but like with, if you got Xfinity, Comcast, what is it? Comcast is the parent company to Xfinity, who's the internet provider. I was getting like 1,300 megs down and 35 megs up. I keep looking over there. Camera's over there. And so that 1,300 megs down and 35 megs up was like $120 a month. So now I'm getting a gig up and a gig down, which again, the gig down is slower, but most of the stuff in my house only has a single gig connection anyway. So, but I was paying like $120 a month for a 1,300 by 35. Now I'm paying just over half of that, or about half of that, for 1,000 each direction. I get about $940 if we're being honest, but yeah, so that's that. Let's see, I'm jealous they don't offer more than a gig in my area. Maybe business class offers faster speeds, but they won't give that to home users. You know, and that's what I really dig about my ISP, is that it's just like, here are our plans, take it or leave it. And they may have business plans, but this is residential. But even with Xfinity, I looked at signing up for a business plan, and they offered me 1,300 down and 35 megs up on a business plan that was like 3 times the cost of the residential plan. So yeah, I immediately, as soon as the dude came to my door, because like I've even got the no soliciting thing, and I was about to scream at somebody, and then I saw Quantum Fiber, and I was like, dude, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna chat. And within 2 weeks, I had fiber in my home, and it was amazing. And as soon as the day it got installed, like as soon as the tech left from the installation of the fiber, I called Xfinity and said, cancel everything effectively now. And it's been great. Let's see. DJ Dash says we're paying just under 200 for a gig. Huh. And, let's see. Interesting. Yeah. I'm guessing you're not here in the States then. Gonna get fiber. I'm ready to go in with the 10 gig hardware, but no provider here in North Hollywood at a reasonable price has anything more than 900 down and 40 up. Dude, I hate it. Hate it. Here in the Netherlands, we have a symmetrical gig for 52 euros. That's not bad. ACP, I don't keep cable as a backup. I probably should. But I always swore that once I got rid of Xfinity, I was getting rid of Xfinity. My only other option is to go with CenturyLink, but really CenturyLink is the backbone for Quantum. So, you know, there it is. I lost the keys. Hey man, how are you? I'm good. Thanks for asking. How are you? Let me know. I appreciate that. In my country, the only difference between business and residential is the contention ratio. Yeah, that sounds about right. Paperless or pager? Paper merge. Let's see. Malek says, can you do videos on how to install paperless or paper merge on Casa OS? Maybe. I'll add it to my list of notes here that I've taken so far today, and then it'll all get dumped into my memos instance. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. I'm really upset that they took away the ability to do their exports. They used to have this way you could export your configuration file and send it to somebody else. On the flip side, that's very similar to the Docker Compose thing. I just like the other way better. Let's see. They offer static IP address as well. So I believe I've got a static IP. I haven't noticed any issues with my IP since I got it. I'm pretty sure it's static. The issue that I had with Xfinity was that their support team and their actual tech team were left and right hands, and they weren't talking to each other at all. And everybody was like, you can't get a new IP. This is the one you've got. You're stuck with this IP. And I was like, dude, my IP has been leaked. I need a different IP. And they're like, well, you can't have one. There's nothing you can do to get a new IP. So then I did some finagling through the phone system and managed to get a hold of somebody that's actually in like a higher level tech support. And they're like, oh, just go exchange your modem. We'll give you a new IP with the new modem. I didn't, and it was at that point I vowed to just get rid of Xfinity as soon as possible. Let's see. Kelly says, hey, love your videos. Are you in the IT DevOps profession? This is it, man. This is it. I used to be a front-end web developer. And I did some back-end stuff every once in a while where I could, but most of my stuff was always front-end development. I've always been interested in tech, networking, computers, printers. I worked for Hewlett-Packard back in like 99 or 2000. I guess it was late 99 because it was right after my 18th birthday. I worked at Hewlett-Packard for one of their contracting companies to do printer testing. Then I kind of got into computers a little bit and networking, and here I am. Like this is my job. This is what I do. Creating content for myself, for other channels, that sort of thing. This is my job. So yes, I am in IT and DevOps in the sense that I present it to people. Let's see. Lost the Key says, awesome, man. I had some time and saw you live. I was watching some Cloudflare videos and loved them. Dude, I'm such a big fan of Cloudflare. I'm hoping, I talked to one of their reps earlier this spring, I think. And they've got some ideas for some content that we're trying to collaborate on. And she said it would be late summer, but now we're into fall. I'm waiting to hear back. I need to send another email. A big fan of Cloudflare. I've been using them. Even when I was a web developer, I used them. I used their DNS services. I actually had my own little hosting company. Like I hosted some sites for some people. But the stipulation was they had to move all of their DNS to Cloudflare so that we could obfuscate their IPs and have more protection on their domains and my servers and that sort of thing. So, let's see. OG left my MSP and now is Wild West jobs. I'm looking for remote hybrid for close to states possible for fully remote. Man, I don't know. I've been chatting with somebody here recently who's trying to find work in IT and has been having some issues with people getting back to them, having a good work-life balance. Some of it's remote, some of it's not remote. It's such a cluster right now, and everybody seems to think that everybody will be more productive if they're in the office, and I think that is BS. I think if you're responsible enough to work for that company, that there's no reason, depending on what you're doing, obviously. But if it's tech support, if it's customer management, if it's customer support, I don't see any reason to be forced back into the office. All of that can be done over the phone, over video chat, over email. There's no reason to stuff hundreds of bodies in a building that doesn't need to be stuffed with bodies. So I hope you're able to find something. Okay, so so he said, I would love some more Cloudflare content. I have a question. I have a domain I just set up with Cloudflare. I have a media server. Can I create Cloudflare tunnel with more than one server? Yes, you can. You can create as many different tunnels as you'd like and install them in as many different computers as you want, even on the free tier. However, be careful trying to run a media server through Cloudflare tunnels. There used to be, in their TOS, it was section 2.8, section 2.8, that strictly prohibited loading anything other than HTML and JavaScript and that sort of thing. However, recently they have updated their TOS and removed section 2.8. So before you point a Cloudflare tunnel at your media server, read that blog post and anything applicable to it. Shane said, there are far more distractions when I'm in the office 1 day a week versus the 4 days I'm at home. I do network operations. Dude, so I worked for a marketing agency that was up in Denver. That, you know, like there was like 30 of us in this office. It was whatever, but you know, there were jerk-offs riding around on unicycles in their downtime and playing ping pong and doing all of these things that were such a distraction to everyone around them that if I had been able to just sit at a home office, I could have got so much more work done without listening to them yammer on about their stuff that wasn't work related. So I absolutely agree that there are far more distractions in the office than when at home. Now, of course, that depends on your home life as well. I say the royal you as the general public. That all depends on home situations and home office situations and that sort of thing. But yeah, yeah. So hopefully, let's see here. I think, man, can you believe this has been almost... Ooh, the self-hosted application that I can't... That's a great question. I think... Okay. Man, I've got 3. Well, okay. So, Plex. Or whatever media server I'm using. I've used Plex, I've used MB, I've gone back to Plex. We've talked about that in previous streams, but definitely a media server. Also a password manager. LastPass, I was with LastPass for years. I recommended LastPass to so many people that they were just giving me free months every time I would refer someone. I didn't pay for LastPass for years. And then LastPass kind of went belly up as far as I'm concerned with their security, with their billing, with all of that. It was just like, oh, you can put it on one device for free, but if you want to access it somewhere else, well, now you got to pay us. And I was like, well, no, absolutely not. So now I'm using Vault Warden. Those are my 2 big ones. Those are the things I use every day. I've always got Plex running in my house, and I'm always using a password manager, Vault Warden. Just that simple. However, there are a series of... There's a group of applications that I have installed that lets me automate my Linux ISO downloads, wink wink. And that has been hugely helpful for me. They aren't necessary. I could go and manually download all of my Linux ISOs. However, using the R's have been hugely beneficial, keeping me up to date on the different Linux ISOs that come out weekly, that sort of thing. So, so hopefully that answers that. Channels DVR. I don't know what that is, but we're gonna do a Google search, I suppose. I don't know what Channels DVR is. It's a DVR server, runs on your computer or NAS at home. Huh? Yeah, I'll have to look at that. That seems interesting. John says hello from Ireland. That cool, man. Thanks for stopping by. It's what is it, like 10:30 there now? Crap, that's late. Let's see. Check it out. Yep. All of that, Shane. The NZB, Get, Sonar Radar, all of that. It is nighttime now. You're not wrong, sir. So I go back and forth on MB. Like, I was a big fan of MB until I tried to share it with somebody else. And yes, I had the MB, the Gold Pass, whatever it's called. But the other people that were using it remotely weren't having a good reaction with it. The other thing with Plex is that they just keep adding more extraneous nonsense to it all of the time. And so every time I install Plex, I go in and unpin all of their garbage and pin my libraries. And I'm sure that a lot of that stuff is still running in the background, and that's probably what's slowing you down. I want a full backup of every Linux ISO that's ever existed, Collins. You should know that by now. How do you back up your Vault Warden instance? I don't trust myself enough to self-host a password manager. That's a fair question. So I actually have it set up on my Proxmox cluster that's back here, and that cluster gets backed up every day. And then that backup gets backed up like every 3 days, I think. So that's I've got it set up in a Proxmox container, running Docker, running a Vault Warden container, which is convoluted and messy, but it's how I've got my backups set up so that again, if my ghost instance has to be restored, it won't negatively affect my Vault Warden. Or if my Vault Warden needs to be restored, it doesn't negatively affect any of my other stuff. So I've got everything isolated from each other. And then each of those different Proxmox containers gets backed up nightly. So that's how I've got my stuff set up. JD says Plex, Vault Warden, Greylog, PHP, admin, Pi-hole, npm, wire. Jeez, man, that is that is quite a bit. All of them, for archival purposes, you're absolutely right, Shane. John says, where y'all from? I'm actually originally from Idaho, but I'm in Colorado now. Have been for 16 years almost. That's crazy. Yeah, JD also says, Plex is great when you store the metadata on an NVMe SSD. Yeah, and I don't. And that's probably part of my issue as well. But I've just done, I've got a TerraMaster 2-drive NAS that is my Plex server. And its only purpose is to serve Plex. And I installed the app. TerraMaster has a Plex app, and I installed that. And there's not a lot of customization there, so I just haven't bothered. And then all of my data gets pulled over from my Synology to that, which then gets rendered out, which is why mine's a little slower, but it's a good solution for me. I feel like it would make less dull to use Linux rather than Windows for IT. Depends on what you're doing. There is some IT stuff that Windows makes sense for. Shane says I'm in Texas. Got a couple of Shanes here. One from Texas, one from California. Marandi is from Sri Lanka. That's cool. Man, good stuff. Good stuff. But man, all right, guys. Look, I think I'm going to start wrapping this up. We've been at it for almost 2 full hours, which is honestly longer than I thought we would. But I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me, whether it's been for a few minutes or you've been here the whole time. Thank you very much. If you haven't already, it'd be great if you'd hit the like button. That'd be great. Of course, if you head over, in fact, I just think I'll just do this. Right. If you're not sure where to find me, there it is. That should take you to all of my different online resources, different websites, different social medias, different ways to support the channel. As I mentioned earlier, if you join as a channel member here on YouTube, join on Patreon or dvtech.fans, you'll get access to my content with no ads. So yeah, so there's that link if you want to check that out. Again, like the video would be great. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Thank you all for hanging out. Thanks for asking the questions that have been answered. Thank you guys for sharing with me. I really dig knowing what you guys are up to. That actually helps me understand what's going on a little bit better out there. So DJ Dash, I lost the keys. Dude, you guys are amazing. All of you are amazing. Thanks for being here. But I think on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And I will talk to you guys here in the next video. So have a good one.